What's up everyone, Bren here, and in this video I'm going to be covering the essentials of playing Naga Siren. Now, as some of you are aware, if you've been watching my stream recently, I have been spamming this hero, mostly because I really enjoy playing her, and she can be really easy to win with if picked versus the correct heroes, which I will outline in the description below because it's quite a lengthy discussion. Currently I am around 6.6k MMR. Now, Naga is one of the heroes I would say requires a decent number of games before you manage to execute her at a decent level. So, if you're new to this hero, expect to lose in your first few games, and it's mostly important not to get discouraged when you do. I'll do my best to help you guys out, and even if you're a higher rated player watching this, I'm sure there's some things that you'll pick up on, and there might even be things that you notice that I don't do that I should. So, getting into this game, since I'm playing Naga on Dire, I would almost always go to the safe lane because mid lane on Dire is complete shit compared to the Radiant mid lane for farming heroes. So if you're on Dire, try to go safe lane in my opinion, and on Radiant I would say mid is slightly better for Naga compared to safe lane. But safe lane is a good option regardless of side. Alright, so for my starting item build, I go for a Stout Shield, 1 Agility Slipper, a set of Tangos, and 2 branches normally. But since our team wasn't picking on time when the timer hit 0, we did end up losing a bit of gold, so I wasn't able to start off with 2 branches. And I know that a lot of people like to start with Poor Man's Shield on this hero, but I honestly love starting with the 2 branches because all it takes is some idle gold and 1 to 2 creep kills, and you can basically just finish your Poor Man's Shield at the side shop, and you get the additional benefit of the branches. And on a hero with low mana costing spells like Riptide, and with the way that I like to play her against a lot of the melee offlaners like Spearbreaker like this, the 2 extra branches worth of stats really do come in handy. And as you guys can see, Naga is really strong against the melee offlaners that are picked right now, like Spearbreaker, Tusk. She's okay versus Undying in the early levels, because basically with Riptide and her high armor at 6 armor, I can do this. I can just walk up to Spearbreaker, just release a Riptide on him and start auto attacking him, and he can't trade efficiently versus me, and I can do a lot of damage versus him, even though Spearbreaker is another hero that's also pretty beefy at the start with decent armor, and he went for a Stout Shield to start this game as well. She's just really good in that regard. Yeah, so she starts with 6 armor. I'm at 7 with my Poor Man's Shield now at level 2. I'm 1 branch. I have decent damage, and I just bought my Quelling Blade, which is basically core on this here. It helps you farm a lot faster in the early game. It's definitely necessary. It'll help. The Quelling Blade will help me just guarantee these last hits. And basically, since this is a dual lane with a disruptor only, and it's still a Spearbreaker, he's a very beefy hero. He has decent natural regen. We aren't going to be able to zone him, but what I can do is I can keep him away from the creep wave using Riptide and my high armor in conjunction with Disruptor throwing out auto attacks and using his spells. So you kind of have to recognize when you want to be doing that. So as you guys can see, I was playing aggressive on him early to get him lower on HP, and I'm kind of, you know, getting free farm in a sense, kind of, but he still is messing me up. I missed that range grip right there. Managed to get a bash off on me, but it's not a big deal. Disruptor is pulling now, and I do have bottle in my quick buy. I like to go for a bottle on this hero really quickly. Some people like to get a Bassy ring out, but I think if you just get the bottle, you can play a lot more aggressively on the offlaner, and you can start doing jungle rotations extremely quickly with your illusions, just right when you hit level 5 and you have 2 points on your illusions. And skill build is super important on this, guys. It is insanely important. Now, the build I really like going for is to prioritize mirror image past the other levels. But first of all, the Spearbreaker, he pulled to the side, and it's only a single, so this is actually a mistake on his end because I can simply farm that. It's not a big deal. I can just use my Riptide right there, use my auto attacks on my Quelling Blade, get the Centaur lower, and he basically just gave me a free neutral camp. And obviously he did get some farm from it, but I'll take that trade any day. But regarding skill build, you definitely want to focus on mirror image. It's going to be the fastest way that you can get your Cook Radiance up. And obviously I went for 2 points in Riptide, so I hit early. So I had 2 points in Riptide at level 3, and that's mostly just to help with zoning the Spirit Breaker off the lane and just pushing him off the creeps if you ever wanted to go up. But definitely use mirror image as your primary ability. And in regards to getting ensnare early, there are some games and some situations where this 1 point will net you a kill that you otherwise would not have, but I've noticed that it really does cut into your Radiance timing, and even if you're able to get like 1 kill maybe per game, it really sets you back. And I really just don't like getting an early point in it. It's up to you though if you want to or not. I notice that I just don't dominate games nearly as much if I go for that single point in snare. It's actually a huge deal. So I have 3 points into my mirror image at this point. I'm at level 5, and I got my bottle, and I brought my Bassi out just because the courier was in use, so I wasn't able to bring the bottle out right away. But it's not a big deal. I have my Bassi, have my bottle, and now I'm just gonna be pushing this lane just to farm it. And now I'm just gonna be pressuring it with my Bassi ring on because I know that Spirit Breaker is off the map. And if you can get an early tower against heroes like Spirit Breaker, Tinker, it can be a big deal. But Earthshaker TP's up now to soak up the EXP. And this is where the real discussion of Naga really comes in. I think that what separates a good Naga from a bad Naga is farm efficiency. So right here, guys, basically what I do is I just use my main hero, send it onto the hard camp, and then send either 1 or 2 illusions into the lane. Honestly, this should be 1 illusion. I only needed 1 illusion to get every single CS right here, and I sent 1 illusion over here just to apply my Riptide damage, just to bring him down. So effectively, I sent out an illusion here, my main hero here, and an illusion here, and I was able to get Riptide damage on all 3 of the creeps, which really helps speeds up your farming. So you want to be spreading your illusions out. Like you only really want 1 to 2 illusions in the lane when you're playing on this hero, and you want to try and keep focusing on your main hero elsewhere. But Sensor Shaker is kind of just sitting in the lane at this point, and I'm really low, so the illusions that I make are also low on HP. Can't really do too much, so I went up in the lane right there, got my farm. I'm gonna be TPing back. Finish my boots, finish my Aquila, and this is really just what you want. This is basically what you want before you get your Radiance. And something I need to discuss as well is there's a huge trend in Arcane boots recently, and I've tried them and they're extremely good. But one thing that I've noticed, well, first of all, it looks like there's gonna be an engagement here, so I'm coming over here just to help out my team. Maybe I can get some straggler kills, and straggler kills are really huge on this hero if you can get them in the early game. It really does help speed up your Radiance timing. By straggler kills, I mean just like walking into like a battle that's already happened mostly, and just picking up a kill here or there. Now I'm going into the jungle, so I send all 3 of my illusions out just into the lane, just to ensure that I manage to get all this farm. See, I send out 3 illusions into the lane, use my Riptide, and I have my main hero in the jungle, and I sent all 3 illusions into the lane just because I knew there was a Tinker there. If I only sent out 1 or 2, there was a chance that he would have nuked him down. But you definitely want to be focusing on getting the farm, getting lane farm with your illusions in the early game. It's really important that you do, because it is the most efficient form of farm in the early game, the lane creeps. So definitely, if you see like an open lane, or you're near a good access point, like in the jungle, for example. Like let's just say I'm right here. I can maybe walk right over here, send illusions out, pick up some creeps, maybe kill their lane creeps, and then I can send it over here, for example. But right now I am just focusing on the jungle. I created 2 illusions, or I created 3 illusions, just keeping 1 with me to help me bring this down, and I sent 2 over here to farm this. Now use my Riptide again, as you guys can see, to bring these lower to help this farm it. They won't be able to finish it, but it's not too big of a deal. And I actually did mess that up. I should have sent all 3 illusions right here initially, and this camp would have died. So definitely a mistake right there in terms of my efficiency. And as you guys can see, I'm not perfect with this hero. I do make a lot of mistakes, but so do a lot of players. Now I TP top just to get my farm up. I got charged right there by Spirit Breaker, and they're kind of just beating into me. But I'm pretty tanky against these right clickers. I have 13 armor, and do have the poor man shield block. But it's coming on me again. Really good glimpse from Disruptor to stop that charge, and I should be able to pick this up. Yeah. So Clockwork managed to get it. Pretty decent. So our team was kind of struggling in the early game, but that actually really helped us to bring us back into it. Now, right now I'm at 65, or yeah, 66 CS, which is kind of where you want to be on this hero. This hero, this is one of the heroes that you can reliably be 80 CS with at 10 minutes. You should almost every game you should be at around 80 CS on this hero, unless you get a really difficult lane. And even if you get a really difficult lane, what you can usually do is just get up to level 4, and with level 2 Riptide and Mirror Image, you can start jungling, especially with a bottle. But once again, I send my illusions into the lane to farm it. I know that there's a hero nearby, so I send all 3, because I know that some of them are going to die. Just by sending all 3 into the lane like this, you ensure that you get the farm. And I'm just jungling safely with my main hero. Just taking out this easy camp. I am low on mana though. I do need to go back at this point. But a TP. I notice there's a battle going on mid, but I can't help them right now. And you really don't want to be helping your team, guys. And when I say that, I'm serious. You don't really want to be helping your team unless they're diving really hard and you have the mana and HP to do so, just so you can get a quick kill. I've noticed that the games I do lose on Naga are the ones where I do try and help early. You just want to be playing really selfishly, I'd say. Just and focusing on getting a really quick radiance timing. That is the most important thing in the early game with this hero. Now, there's a lot of things that you want to be doing once you finally get your radiance, in which I will be discussing it. This hero is very complex in that regard, I'd say. I wouldn't say really complex, but there's a very specific knowledge about this hero that you need to understand. So I moved my illusions past the tower into this creep wave just to get them. I'm going to be lowering them over to this easy camp because I knew my illusions right there were going to be they were going to run out. So Bounty Hunter was right there. He tracked me, and this hero is really good against Bounty Hunter as well because you can purge off track with your illusions with Conjure Image, or Mirror Image, I bet. Conjure Image is terrible at skill. So I send out more illusions, sending them to the lane to farm for me. And as you guys can see, even though I'm being really efficient with my farming, and I'm kind of doing it in this very selfish manner, I'd say, I guess, kind of in a way, I'm still putting pressure on the lanes. Like, one hero needs to be defending these lanes that I'm pushing in with my illusions. So even pre-Radiance, I'm still doing stuff to help my team. And I will be discussing kind of the theory behind why Naga is just so good in these type of games. But I figured I was being charged. I saw this, I had the sentry, so I saw bounty. So I'm gonna get a very quick sleep right here. And this is very important, guys. What I'm doing is I'm spreading all 3 illusions out. So I'm spreading one illusion over here near the Spirit Breaker to get my Riptide damage on them, one illusion right here by the Tinker, and one illusion by the Clinks. So when it ends, I use my Riptide and get all my damage in. My illusions are doing some damage, but they got cleared up by the March really quickly. I still get a decent amount of Riptide damage though. And now we still have this battle going on. Really good Disruptor ult. Managed to get the Tinker right there, and that's actually a big kill. We really needed that. That Tinker was kind of still walling pretty hard. So Spirit Breaker is going on me. I do have a lot of armor, as I've been talking about, but I do go down. But at what cost? So we get the Spirit Breaker as well right there. So not too big of a deal. 13 minutes. 13.5. I'm at 2.7k gold, so I'm getting pretty close to my radiance. And I would say that a good radiance timing in this patch would be about 16 minutes. 16 minutes is what I would say would be good. 15 minutes is great, and like 17 to 18 minutes is respectable, I'd say. And in this game, there has been a lot of movement from the enemy team. There's a Spear Breaker. They've had the Tinker just being really active. So I had a good lane, but I wasn't entirely free to do whatever I wanted. So this isn't going to be the best radiance timing. There will be games where you get absolute free farm in lane, and you manage to get maybe one kill, and they don't really have heroes to kill your illusions early in the game, so you can get really good timing on your illusions, on your radiance. But this game I have been a little bit active, as just because they are diving past my towers, which I've been talking about. Since they are diving past my towers, I can help my team out, and I'm still near my farming points. The issue with going out and helping your team across the map, across the river for example, is a lot of the times you're going to be low on mana, you're going to be low on HP after an engagement, and you're not going to be close to, say, your jungle or a lane spawning, and you just had a battle, so you'll be low on HP mana, as I just said. So yeah, if you are helping your team out, you want to be doing it when they just dive you, when the enemies dive you, just so you can pick up some quick kills, get some AoE gold, just help your team out to win the engagement. Now, I do get a point in net. I know that there's some players that get 0 points in net until a lot later, until like level 21, but I think 1 point is good enough. Now, I'm going back to base, but I had enough mana to use my illusions, so I'm going to send 1 illusion onto the hard camp, or 2 right there, and then 1 onto the medium camp and get my Riptide damage on both of them. I think I actually missed my Riptide right there on the medium camp, but it's not a big deal. I'm microing them back because they're low on HP. I have another Riptide coming back because I was still healing in base. I needed to sit in base either way, but I managed to get off a lot of Riptide damage on them, so I softened them up. And oh, I'm sorry, I kind of missed the discussion about Arcane boots. Now, I've tried Arcane boots, and they're definitely really good. You get maybe like a slightly later radiance depending on what happens in the game, but first of all, there's gonna be this engagement. Clinks just starts going ham on me with his right clicks. He just activates strafe. I send my illusions and get some Riptide damage on all 3. Tinker's going in. He does not give a shit. And we have a really good glimpse back on the Tinker, so I'm here getting the gold. Even though I'm not getting the kills, I'm getting some assist gold. And alright, so we managed to pick up that kill as well. So they are diving really deep at this point. But yeah, there's been a lot of fighting in this game on our side. So I haven't just had the most optimal farm that you would in a more standard game. Like, I'm only at 107 CS on Naga at 17 minutes. This is really low. But considering what's happened, it's kind of just I'd say it's to be expected in a sense. But I'm still gonna be having like an 18.5 minute radiance, which it's all right. Definitely winnable. And regarding Arcane boots, guys, I'm not entirely sure about them. I've tried them in 2 games when I'm in the side lane, and I think you get your radiance maybe 30 seconds later or so, depending on what happens in the game. Like, you might get it faster if you go Arcane boots, just because you have more mana to be active and you can push the enemies off your farming spots, and you also have the mana to help your supports or anyone else on your team, so they can just use their spells more freely. So I would say that Arcane boots is probably the better build, to be totally honest with you guys. But in this game, I just go for brown boots into my radiance, the Quilla bottle. This is definitely an acceptable build, but I'll have to experiment a little bit more with Arcane boots. They're probably the way to go, though. Yeah, I recommend that you try it out yourselves. And Arcane boots are also really good because you split your boots anyways for your travels really quickly, because you want to be rushing quick travels on this hero because it gives you a lot of movement speed to move your mirror images illusions around to start cutting lanes and just being a lot more efficient with your radiant spread. Now, I do have my radiance, and it's really important when you get your radiance that you are efficient with your illusion. So I send one illusion into the lane because I know that this will be able to get that wave and it will be able to get the next wave. So I only need one illusion to do that. And I had this illusion clear this camp. Just need one illusion to do that. I'm sending one illusion over here, which it managed. I actually mismicroed it right there. Actually, no, it wasn't really a mismicro, but there was a tinker that I didn't notice correctly right away. So definitely a mistake on me, on my end. What I should have done with that illusion, I should have sent it to the medium camp. But right here, I create 3 illusions, I send one mid, I send one down into their safe lane, and I send one into their jungle. And this is what you really want to be doing on Naga. You want to be around an access point, such as around here, or maybe mid lane, anywhere around here. And it would be around the enemy jungle, and you want to send one illusion into their mid lane, one illusion into their safe lane, and just one into their jungle, and you can get really quick farm. And once you get up your Boots of Travel and your Yasha, that's when you can start doing really sick 3-lane cuts, and that's when the game gets really hard for your enemies. And that's basically when you should be starting to win the game, keeping the balance in your skills. Now, something to know about Naga, she's a heavy split push hero. That's just what she does. That's how she wins games. You'll have some games where you only have 2 assists, but you've been the most impactful hero on the map. Because essentially, when you're split pushing lanes, guys, what that does is they need to commit heroes to defend against you. So, for example, this Clinks isn't able to be exactly where he wants to be. He needs to be defending against my split push. The Tinker needs to be defending against my split push. So that means that my team can take easy 4-on-3 team fights, just because they need to commit at least 2 heroes to defending their lanes. So essentially, this is a hero that you want to be creating space with. You want to be on the enemy side mostly. This is the first time I've been on my side with the Radiance. Since I've gotten my Radiance. You want to be creating space for your team by keeping the lanes pushed in so that your team can farm your jungle really easily. And you're taking farm away from them by farming their jungle. You're keeping them committed to their side of the map. And you're just making it really easy to get things like towers, like Roshan. Yeah, it's a really high... Naga's a really high impact hero in that sense. Split pushing is definitely the way to just win games by yourself, I'd say. Just because it makes the game really easy for your team. So right there, I managed the song, and we just get the Disruptor ultimate on top of that. We get the Tinker. We get a really good static field right there. And as you guys can see, they know that they need to do something. Yeah, they know that they need to do something, so they get careless. They're gonna be getting careless. They will get careless in games a lot of the times, and you can use your sleep really effectively once you get Radiance to take fights like that. So I managed to get the bounty right there, fill out my bottle. No, I do not have my illusions up yet, but I'm going to have them up. So what I do in this situation is I'm sending one illusion right here. It's going to cut this lane. One illusion right here, cut this lane, and then one illusion, as I've been talking about, to just farm their jungle. So I'm keeping these lanes in. So this means they need to defend. They have to defend against the split push, meaning my team can basically do whatever they want. There should be probably someone farm this jungle, but that's alright. They do get Roshan. It's not a big deal. So just continuing my split push, just continuing my farming. Managed to get the pick off on the Clinks right away. He was low on HP when he was doing that, so managed to kill him really quickly, and then pop him again. Oh, I do see that there's engagement, and I am pretty close by in the area, so I am walking over. Excuse me. Tinker actually blinks, uses his rocket right there. Alright, so even though I'm in a battle, I'm still splitting my illusions up. It's kind of annoying versus Tinker though, because you can nuke your illusions really quickly if he sees them on the map. So there are some heroes where they will be cutting into your farm severely. I'd say Tinker's one of them. Lion is probably the biggest one, because he can go from lane to lane with like tranquil boots and use mana drain and hex and just limit your farm. Never pick this hero against Lion, guys. Just do not do it. But at this point, I have my Boots of Travel, I have my Yasha. I just got tracked there. Getting rocketed. I should be creating some illusions right here, but I'm going to be walking over here to get a better access point. Huskar's just like waiting casually, low HP. So, I see the timer, it's 26, this means it's a really good time to create my illusions, sending one mid, one in the bot lane, and once again, one into their jungle. This is going to push the lanes out, as I've been talking about. They'll have to defend it. It'll buy more time for our team. It'll help us get a lot more farm in. And even during all this, I TP top. I'm going to be songing. Maybe I can catch someone. So we catch the bounty right here. That could be pretty big if we have detection. We have detection. My net, obviously, net doesn't hit invis units. Windrunner popped his dust a little bit too early, but it's not too big of a deal. It's just a bounty hunter, so he manages to get away. Now, I like going for just the standard Manta. There are some players that like going for Octarine after your Yasha, but I don't. I've tried it, and you actually farm a lot faster with your Manta. You're a lot more survivable because you have to split, and Octarine just costs a lot before you have to basically finish the entire Octarine before it has an impact. So it's slower in terms of its farm rate. You're not as good in battle. It's just not good. So just stick to the normal build, guys. Get your Manta after your Radiance, and then you go into your Octarine, which is the new build on this hero. It gives you everything you need. It gives you basically permanent mana to stay on the map, and it lowers the cooldown of your illusion. So you can get 3-lane cuts in every time, just because it decreases the cooldown. It means that the overall uptime of your illusions is a lot higher. Now I'm walking back to base just because I'm low on mana. I almost had my Radiance. I almost had my Manta complete. Now, as you guys can see, once you really get your Boots of Travel and your Yasha, what you want to be doing is you want to be in access points to get 3-lane cuts in. And by 3-lane cuts, I mean just sending one illusion to each of their lanes to pressure it in, and get a lot of split push pressure going to make it even easier for your team to take engagements, make it easier for them to farm or do whatever they want to. Huskar was like AFK in this game, so whatever. So yeah, I was mid again, so I'm going to be sending one illusion down to the bottom. I send one illusion mid and actually lure the creeps over here. But there's no hard camp. But if there was, I would have lured this over and then farmed their hard camp. I have one illusion that I sent top, but they managed to kill it. It's not a big deal. At the very least, I got a lot of scouting information. Yeah, like sometimes your illusions will die really quickly, but most of the time you're going to be able to get some damage done, force them to use some spells that they might not want to, especially if they're low mana heroes and stuff like that. So I'm sending one illusion top, one illusion mid, and one illusion bottom, because I'm in a really good point at this point, guys, to get a 3-lane cut in. Now I'm actually going to be missing. I sent it out, or I don't really have a good timing to get a 3-lane cut. The illusion that I sent over here is actually not going to hit it in time, but it's not too big of a deal. You'll make these. Everyone makes these type of mistakes on this hero. Yeah. Top of my Manta even, just to farm a little bit faster, and do some tower damage. Increase my pressure. Now, I know that they're basically all off map, and they're all in our jungle, so I can be really aggressive in terms of just actually doing damage to tower. So I managed to get that tower. I'm TPing top because this lane is pushed in, and I have my illusions, which are already doing pressure in both their mid lane and their bot lane. So you want to recognize when you actually want to start moving around after you've sent illusions out to push one lane in. Now, this hero is really good, guys, for the reasons that I've been mentioning, but I pop my Manta right there, puts on a lot of confusion. He manages to rocket the real one, or laser the real one. But I'm going to pop my song. I have my illusions out, and yeah, just juke over to the left and just TP out. Pretty simple escape. And even during all this, I'm splitting up my illusions still. I'm not like forgetting about the illusions that I just created. So these two illusions, I'm sending one over here to maybe do a cut, and one over here to finish off these creeps. Do some damage to Spirit Breaker. But they won't last long. They won't last long enough to get this, but that's alright. Yeah, now I have my Manta, as I've already had for a little bit. I will be going into my Octarine core, which is definitely amazing on this hero. Just the new build on this hero. So, create my illusions again, sending one bot, one mid, and with my Yasha and my Boots of Travel, these illusions can travel really far distances, so I send one top even to de-push that. Now, Spirit Breaker managed to get a charge, kill Huskar. I'm nearby though with Disruptor, so we managed to get a return kill on the Spirit Breaker. So I have this illusion bottom still. It's most likely gonna die to this guy, but manages to kill all the creeps beforehand, so that's really good. Okay, so this hero is really good, guys, because not only does she scale amazingly with items, both in terms of her fighting ability, because if you spread your illusions out really well, even if the enemy team has really good AoE, like, your illusions are going to stay alive. They're going to have the Radiance burn on them. They're going to have the Radiance debuff of 70% of mischance. And you're going to have a lot of split push pressure, even if you aren't able to win team fights with this fighting team. And right here, I actually had a good point and a good timing to get 3-lane cutoff, so I managed to get cut top, cut mid, and cut bottom. So I eliminated both those waves. We're going to have our creeps pushing in now, uncontested, and they have to stay split at this point. And this is really when Naga truly comes online, is when you manage to kind of get into their jungle and manage to do these type of things, because they need to stay split. They have to stay split, otherwise they're going to take a bunch of tower damage, and you don't want to lose towers against the Naga, because if you lose towers against the Naga, she'll be able to just cut a lot easier, because you're giving up a lot of map control. So they had to stay split. Now, just walking back, I have my illusions cutting these waves. One cutting mid, one cutting bot, so even more pressure. Looking mid now, so I'm just using my song just to set up. This should be a dead tanker really easily, so I saw my ultimate just because Disruptor 3 was down right away. Yeah, so we just suicided with the Bloodstone. But throwing out my net because he's BKB'd. Net goes to BKB. Decent ultimate from Earthshaker, but he doesn't have enough damage follow-up to kill me. So we managed to get a kill on him right there. I'm getting really close to my Octarine at this point. Now, created more illusions even. Just coming over to this shop. Just farming it up. I don't have enough to actually finish it at this point, but I do have illusions on the map, so I know that if these do get some creep kills, I'll be able to finish it right up. So this took out the ancients right there, or one ancient creep. Managed to finish on my Octarine core, and this is really when this hero's power really starts showing in. And I really love this item, guys. I'm really glad they, well, I'm not really glad that they added it to the game, but it just makes Naga a lot better. Just because it increases the uptime on your illusions. It's a mana regen item, which she desperately needs, which she didn't really have before. There really wasn't an option before, other than just getting the raw int that Scotty gives you. Now, at this point, I'm just sending one illusion to each lane. And when I'm doing this, guys, if you notice that during my live streams when I'm playing Naga, I do a lot of shift queuing around. So I'll send one to each lane, and then I'll shift queue it towards their tower, for example. So after they finish the lane, they maybe get some tower damage off, or something like that. Now, just cutting all 3 lanes at this point. I'm at 369 CS, which is alright at this point. It's a little bit lower than where I want to be, ideally. But pushing all 3 lanes in. Yeah, basically you have permanent, or nearly near permanent uptime on your illusions. So you can cut every single time that lane creeps spawn from them. So I create illusions. I'm cutting all three lanes again, and they need 3 heroes to defend at this point for all the lanes. So we have Brown just doing his thing, just farming ancients. We have Pink doing some farming of the jungle. Clock is free to do whatever he wants. Clockwork can get really easy picks if they're spread out. Spread out makes Windrunner a lot more powerful. Yeah, so just really strong in terms of what she can do in the late game, keeping these lanes pushed in. Obviously, this does take just some practice to get down, but honestly, I'd say that microing your illusions and splitting them up is really easy. It's just knowing when to do it and where to do it. That's what's difficult. And I will be making more Naga videos where I analyze those type of things. At this point, I can really start doing some tower damage. So Tinker getting out the flame. If you play Naga, guys, and if you play decently well, you're gonna get a lot of flame. That's just how it is. People don't like playing against this hero, but whatever. You just have to ignore that shit. So I'm keeping the lanes pushed in, creating more illusions, sending 1 or 3 bottom for my Manta illusion, 1 for my split illusion, 1 to their mid lane, and I'm sending 1 into their jungle right here, just to get that farm. As you guys can see, I do move my camera pretty fast when I'm doing this, and I use a lot of clicking on the mini-map. So if your camera speed is lower, I would suggest increasing that to help you out with this type of to help you out in terms of microing your illusions and just splitting them up as fast as possible. So keeping the pressure on. So managed to get that kill right there. And as you guys can see, I am focusing on just keeping illusions at near the racks for whenever the creeps spawn, just so I can cut the lane. I actually could have microed this around a little bit more. I could have shift queued it around, and I could have avoided Earthshaker's damage, and he wouldn't have been able to kill that illusion. It would have bought more time, and that's just like one of those efficiency things. Like, if I was a little bit more focused, or maybe just feeling a little bit better in terms of my control, I could have done that. Yeah, so there's a lot of improvement that I have to do in terms of this hero. But I have my Octarine, and the next item I go for is definitely going to be a Scotty. Essentially, since you're going for Octarine, it's a no stat item, really. It doesn't give you any agility. You really need the bulkiness that Scotty gives you. Scotty also gives you 25 int. It's a very strong orb effect for your main hero. I would say that Diffusal is also a bit of an outdated item on this hero now that Octarine is in the game. Basically, the ideal setup is you want your Manta, your Octarine, a Scotty, and a Heart. And you're sitting at about 4k HP, and your illusions are extremely tanky. And you can just win through just sheer building damage. And your fighting ability is also extremely strong because they just simply won't have enough AoE damage unless there's like a scaling carry, like Tiny or Saven, to actually kill your illusions. So I know that there's not too much in terms of actual like real fights that occurred in this game, because basically splitting your illusions up during a team fight is really important on this hero if you want to get maximum effectiveness with your illusions, because when you split them up and put 1 illusion on each hero, kind of like if you were a Spectre, say, you put 1 illusion on each hero and then you just issue an attack move on them and it'll follow them. It makes their AoE a lot less effective, and each one of the heroes has to deal with an illusion, and this hero is really strong in that regard in team fights. Now, I'm just walking over here. At this point, you can kind of use your hero and pretend that you're an illusion, so I'm just walking up. It's kind of risky still, but not a big deal. You can actually start doing that a lot sooner. If anybody has ever seen Miracle play, I think he's from Singapore. He does a lot of that stuff. He's really tricky with his illusions. There's a lot of mind games, which I really need to incorporate into my own play, to be honest. Sometimes you do get punished for it, though, so I don't know. I guess my style is a bit safer. But I'm almost 6 out at this point. 538 CS at 39 minutes. That's decent. But as I've been kind of showing, I was actually inefficient with a few of my illusion usages. So I'm not like at where I could be if I was playing this hero to her maximum potential. I'm definitely not there. Yeah, this game is basically over at this point, guys. I hope you learned some things about playing Naga in this game. I will be making more Naga specific videos. I want to make a video where I demonstrate how to get the most out of playing a mid lane Naga on Radiant, because I think that deserves a video of its own, because it's kind of tricky in terms of the way you want to execute it. So if anyone's actually interested in that, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like it and subscribe if you are not already subscribed. See you guys later.